So what is a chord? And it turns out that exactly those four are the fundamental types of triads that you'll ever be dealing with. Some of these chords are important because they happen so often to have memorized, and then other ones not so important. For example, let's talk about chords. Probably every piece of music that you've ever heard in your entire life is built entirely of chords. Having an understanding of chords will help you to improvise, to compose, to play along with pop music, and to remember any classical pieces of music that you might learn at the piano. In other words, they're very important. So what is a chord? Well, basically a chord is just a collection of 3 or more notes. We'll be talking about this type of chord here called a triad. Like a tricycle has 3 wheels, a triad has 3 notes, and they're stacked up on top of each other. So to take this example here, with this middle C, that gives us these 3 notes. That is a chord. And that here is also a chord. This is also a chord. But now you might notice they all sound a bit differently. Not only that some of them are higher and some of them are lower, but they actually sound, they have a different quality to them. This one, you might say, sounds sort of happy. This one sounds maybe a bit strange. You might say that that one sounds sad. In any case, they don't all sound the same. So let's talk about what makes a chord sound different from another chord. It turns out it's to do with the distance between the notes in the chord. So here, the distance between here and here, we'll measure by counting piano keys. So we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 keys here. And the distance here is 2 piano keys. Right? So we have 3 below and 2 above. But if we play this next chord that we talked about, here we only have 2 piano keys between the lower 2 notes and 2 between the upper 2 notes. So in the first case we had 3 below and 2 above. In the next case we had 2 below and 2 above. Now in the next case we had 2 below and 3 above. Right? So we're talking about 3 different chords, and indeed all of these have different names. Let's take one more example and then we'll have a complete picture. Here we have 3 below and 3 above. And it turns out that exactly those 4 are the fundamental types of triads that you'll ever be dealing with. 2 below, 2 above, 3 below, 3 above, 3 below and 2 above, or 2 below and 3 above. And these all have names. We'll start with this C snowman that we were talking about before. This one has 3 on the bottom, 2 on the top. Turns out that is called a major chord. This one here had 2 on the bottom, 3 on the top. Like that. That's called a minor chord. Now, the way that you can remember this is just to think of the lower distance as being the more important distance. So 3 below and 2 above, since the lower distance is 3, you call it major since it's bigger. And this one you call minor when the smaller interval is on the bottom. Now the other 2 also have names. When we have 2 below and 2 above, that is called a diminished chord. Diminished just being a fancy schmancy name for having made something smaller, right? So 2 and 2. And now if we talk about 3 and 3, 3 here and 3 here, that is called an augmented chord. And again, it's just a fancy schmancy word for having made something big, augmented. So those are the 4 fundamental types of chords that you'll be dealing with, of triads I should say. As you can tell from their sound, those 2 sound a bit strange, the diminished and the augmented, I should say, sound a bit strange or dissonant, and the major and the minor are the ones that, for at least 90% of everything that you've ever heard, is something built on a major chord or a minor chord. Now let's talk about how to name a chord. What you do is you just say the lowest note in this triad structure and then what type it was. For example, this would be a C major chord. This would be a B diminished chord. This would be an A minor chord. And let's say this one here, this would be a D augmented chord. So that's how you name the chords. Now, how do you notate them? Well, I have an example here. A C major chord you would notate like this, just writing a capital C. If you wanted a C minor chord, you would write a C with an M. M stands for minor. Now you might be wondering, that seems a bit silly. M could just as well stand for major. And you would be right. It turns out that's the way you do it. You want a major chord, a C. You want a minor chord, a C with an M. A C diminished chord would be notated this way, the C with a bit of a degree sign there, and an augmented chord would be a C with a plus sign. Now there are also other ways of notating these, but these are very standard. So now how do you use these if you're actually playing some music? Well, let's take a look at that. I have here a song, green sleeve, so alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously. And you see we have these chords here, right? We have A minor, C, G, E minor, A minor, E. And I can use the chords to serve as my accompaniment as I sing it. So, alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously. I just played the chord that's written above the text at that point in the text, and that serves as a nice accompaniment if you're singing a song, for example. Now you notice also that while I'm singing that, I'm finding these chords very quickly, so it couldn't be the case that I'm actually thinking of these twos and threes and these distances between the notes, right? You can tell that I have memorized them. And it turns out that some of these chords are important because they happen so often to have memorized, and then other ones not so important. For example, diminished and augmented, they don't happen so often. It's enough to just have understood them. You don't need to memorize them. But the major and the minor chords happen so often that it is really worth it to be able to find them quickly and even to memorize them.